content regardless of the circumstances. Guys coming out of prison, for the most part, have been in churches and prison. A lot of them are saved right there in prison. This particular group of people come out and they can't get help. It's even harder for them to get a job than the normal guy coming out of prison. Imagine yourself interviewing this guy and he says, yeah, I was in prison for the past 6 years. Well, thank you very much for applying. But we don't take people with records. It's very difficult for those men to get productive jobs. Even if he comes out and he says that, and then he turns and looks at you and you look at him and you say, well, what were you in jail for? He says, well, I'm a sex offender. End of conversation, no job. Unless the guy has got a skill that he's learned where he can go do it. He's a welder, he's a plumber, and he's certified to do that type of work. He is behind the eight ball. This is a man who needs to learn how to change his character and develop so that he can become a productive member of society. What he needs are 4 things. The desire to do that, a plan, direction, and the determination to stick it out. A halfway house designed for people that are in that little slot that is now not taken care of is what is needed so that they can actually get these tools to use so that they can become productive, so that they can actually overcome their past. How many of us in here have never made a mistake? Oh my goodness. I think that that's an honest answer. And it's the same for this guy coming out of prison. He made a mistake. There's 2 gentlemen that I know of that I've spoken to that have come out have been in the same boat. 17 years of age. The girl was 15. We've all been young. And we all know the things that we do back when we're young are not always the things that we should be doing. But because of those 2 factors of age for those individuals, here is a person who can't get help. How do we do that? Well, if they're in prison, what I used and we used in the prisons was several items. First, we used the Bible, the instruction book, to deal with the men in the prison, to help them begin to get the things that they need. Then we used some programs to help develop character. One of the things which I'm certified to teach that I taught in the prisons is a program called Men's Fraternity. It is a program that helps these guys to make connections that they hadn't made before, to actually go through the point of making amends and forgiveness with people that they need to do that. A lot of them didn't have their father in the home. They need to address that. A lot of them were fathers and need to make amends with their children for the things that they've done. Through that program, we teach them how they can do that and encourage them to actually start while they're in prison. Another program which I've used successfully in prisons is Toastmasters. The reason for that is quite simple. We do this table topics things where you give an answer to a question in 1 to 2 minutes. in that 1 to 2 minutes, you're doing what we do when we go into an employer and he starts asking us questions. He asks a question, you have to give him an answer that makes sense within a limited period of time. Most of these guys who are in prison have no idea how to do that. So teaching them through Toastmasters about how to speak and their presentation and how they should look when they're presenting makes a difference when they come out. It might give them that extra little bit of a shot to get that job. We also use a program that's called Safe People. This program I recommend to everybody. And the reason that I recommend it is because another tool that these guys in prison do not have is how to pick friends. Obviously, they're there because they did some wrong things and they were probably around people that they should not have been around. In particular, the gangbangers run into this a lot. They don't know how to choose their friends. We've got kids with fathers who are not in the home, mothers who are not in the home, fathers who are using drugs, mothers who are using drugs. How are they going to learn to pick the right friends? To make that judgment so that they can make the association that they need to successfully change their lives. One-on-one counseling is also used with specific individuals. What I'm here for today is to tell you that this slot that I'm talking about, that this group of people that need help exists right here in East Texas. It exists right here in Longview. What I'm here to do is to suggest that we start a program, a halfway program, for men who are caught in this cycle, to train them and to help them to change so that they can be productive members of society. To do that, we will have to do more than just open the doors and say, come in. The guys that we take will have to be vetted. They will have to be, first of all, believers. It will be a Christian-based program. Second of all, the type of sexual offense that they commit will be looked at very hard. There are some people that are in that category who should not be in this type of program. They're not likely to change without really true professional help. Those people have to be eliminated from that program. That means interviewing, that means recommendation of the state, that means them being willing to do things that they need to do in order to change. And programs like Celebrate Recovery and anger management classes are all things that these guys should have already gone through and be willing to continue with in order to come into this type of program. To do this, it will require finding a location. I think I have one. It will require funding. So what I'm here for today in front of this church is to ask you to help us make this opportunity for change a reality. And when we do it, we'll invite you to come and be a part, and then to celebrate the fact that you have helped somebody else change their life. Mr. Toastmaster.